The United States is a bigger version of India. Yeah, that's what we Chinese think the US. We used to take the US as the beacon of democracy when I was in my early 20s. But now, I'm wondering why the US stuck in internal conflict. In recent years, social division in the United States has intensified. Issues like racial tensions, wealth inequality, and political polarization have escalated, even leading to violent incidents. Partisan battles have shifted from policy debates to a life or death struggles, with ordinary citizens dragged into opposing camps. Why has the once cold melting pot turned into a polar cave? So you may forget the Capitol riot. Trump supporters stormed the Capitol in an attempt to overturn the election results in 2021, leaving 5 dead. You may forget the George Floyd incident. Police brutality triggered nationwide protests. Black Lives Matter, you remember, right? Some of which turned into riots, causing over $2 billion in economic losses in 2020. As the Pew Research says, there's a huge political polarization, and a 2024 poll showed that 81% of Democrats and 76% of Republicans view the other party as a threat to the nation. How's it even possible? And why you hate each other so much? Well, I'll just name 3 reasons. First, historical roots. The United States has had regional divisions since its founding, with slavery ultimately leading to civil war in 1861. And racial tensions remain unresolved today, and wealth inequality, for example, the top 1% control 40% of the nation's wealth, has further deepened the divisions. The hierarchy in the US is crazy, and that's why we think the United States is just like India. Second, flaws in the political system. The two-party system fosters a with us or against us mentality, turning elections into mudslinging contests. And almost all the social media algorithms amplify extreme content, making it harder for people with differing views to communicate. Third, economic pressure. The shrinking middle class and the disappear of the working class has driven support for extremist politicians. For example, Trump's America First agenda. When the middle class was bigger, Trump has no chance to win the office. I bet you agree with me, at least this Trump part, right? I'll give you some data of the current situation, okay? The 2024 election has become the most divisive election yet, with supporters of both parties accusing the other of destroying democracy. FBI data shows rising violence. In 2023, there were over 9,400 threats against the political figures. 3 times the number 5 years ago, okay? And Gallup poll says there is a collapse of social trust. Only 20% of Americans believe the government does the right thing most of the time. I reckon no. And let's talk about a little bit of future implication. For the short term, post-election large-scale conflicts could erupt, with AI-generated fake content, for example, deepfake videos, exacerbating chaos. And for long term, if reforms fail, the US could head toward Brazilification. Yes, Brazilification, a society where slums coexist with gated communities, and governance continues to deteriorate. Yes, don't forget those homeless. Okay, and let's talk about China. Does China face similar issues? Since China and the United States are the biggest competitors, right? Yes, China does, but to a lesser extent. For example, wealth inequality. China's Gini coefficient is around 0.47 compared to 0.48 in the US. But poverty alleviation policies have mitigated some tensions, and now we basically have no homeless anymore. And don't forget, China has 1.4 billion population, okay? Since the industrial process is ongoing, with the socialist mentality, this problem will be lighter. But differing opinions exist in online discourse. We argue before decision, then take action after conclusion. And everybody knows China has a dominant party, so it can address social issues through policy arguments. For example, now we have rural revitalization, while the US struggles due to partisan gridlock. And between China and the US has different media environment. China's social media is more regulated, limiting the spread of extremist content, whereas the United States algorithm fuel division, creating echo chambers. I have the access of both China and the US social media platforms. I do witness the 2 biggest competitors. America's social division serves as a warning. Economic growth must balance fairness, and public discourse needs rational dialogue. While China has its own challenges, its centralized governance allows for quicker corrections. The competition of the future will not just be about economics and technology, but also about the ability to govern society effectively. What do you think? Follow me. Let's talk about money next time.